You know, in the high-stakes world of PC gaming, the battle for performance, it's just relentless. Companies are pushing the absolute limits of technology to give us players the smoothest, fastest experience you can imagine. But in this race, one of the biggest players, AMD, seems to be, well, deliberately tapping the brakes. And it's a pretty puzzling move, so let's dive in and figure out what is going on here.
And yeah, that really is the central question we're digging into. While its competitors are basically flooring the accelerator, AMD's choosing a totally different path. It seems kind of counterintuitive, right? But as you're about to see, there's a very specific strategy behind it all.
Okay, so before we can really understand AMD's strategy, we've got to get a handle on the core technology at play here. It's called frame generation, and it's this AI-powered technique that is completely rewriting the rules of performance.
So what is it exactly? Well, to put it simply, frame generation is where your graphics card uses artificial intelligence to basically create brand new frames out of thin air, and then slips them in between the frames your PC actually renders. The result? A massive and honestly often jaw-dropping boost in how smooth the game feels.
So how does this magic trick actually work? Well, think of it like a movie animator. Your PC does the heavy lifting, drawing the key moments. We'll call them frame A and the next one. The AI then acts like this super smart assistant. It studies the motion between those two key moments and draws a perfect in-between frame, frame B. By slotting that new frame in, the motion on screen becomes incredibly fluid, giving you that super high frame rate feel without the massive performance hit.
So that's the tech. Now let's take a look at the competition. Because in one corner, you've got Nvidia and Intel. And let me tell you, they are going all in. They are pushing this AI-powered approach to its absolute limits. And really, this one number tells you everything you need to know about their strategy, 6x. With their latest tech, Nvidia can generate 5 AI frames for every single one your computer actually renders. That is a massive performance multiplier, and it just shows how aggressive their push really is.
And Nvidia is definitely not alone here. Intel has fully embraced this with their own version called XeSS 3. They're using it to make serious gaming possible on hardware that was, frankly, never designed for it. Like a standard laptop just running on integrated graphics. I mean, that's a total game changer for accessibility.
So that's the super aggressive approach. But now let's turn to AMD, which is charting a much more, well, cautious path. Faced with this all-out push from its rivals, Team Red is doing something noticeably different.
And here's where things get really interesting. While Nvidia is chasing that insane 6x multiplier, AMD's latest tech, FSR Redstone, that stands for Fidelity FX Super Resolution, it aims to simply double your frame rate. So for every one rendered frame, they generate one AI frame. Now a 2x boost is still really impressive, don't get me wrong, but it is a world away from 6x. But hey, don't mistake caution for a lack of progress, because while the multiplier is smaller, the tech underneath has taken a huge leap forward. FSR Redstone moves from a simpler analytical model to one that's genuinely powered by machine learning, and now uses 2 source images to figure out the motion, which results in a much crisper image and, thankfully, gets rid of those distracting ghosting artifacts you saw in the older version.
Which brings us right back to our central mystery. Why the restraint? I mean, if they have the tech, why not push for 3x, 4x, or even 6x like the competition? Well, the answer turns out to be pretty simple. They're listening very, very carefully to their audience.
And these are the key concerns you hear from the people who actually play the games. There's this growing fear that developers might get lazy, using AI as a crutch instead of properly optimizing their games. Plus, this tech isn't magic. It really works best when you already have a good, solid base frame rate. For a lot of gamers, pushing it too far just feels a little wrong.
And this quote from AMD executive David McAfee, it says it all. He straight up acknowledges that a lot of gamers feel the tech has gone too far in some cases. So AMD's strategy is a direct response to that community feedback. They've heard the concerns, and they're choosing to build out their technology carefully and deliberately over the next few years.
So, what does this whole cautious strategy mean for the future of gaming performance? Well, it shows that AMD believes there's more than one way to solve this puzzle, and it's not just about chasing the highest possible number. In fact, their full strategy is actually this really clever 2-pronged attack. For new games, you've got FSR Frame Generation built right in by developers. But, and this is huge,
For the massive library of older games that will never get official support, they have AFMF 2.1, which stands for AMD Fluid Motion Frames. It's a feature you can just turn on at the driver level for pretty much any game. It's all about providing options for everybody.
And you know where this careful, quality-focused approach might be absolutely crucial? The next big frontier, handheld gaming. For power-limited devices like the ROG Ally and the Legion Go, efficiently boosting frames with smart AI is considered incredibly significant. It really could be the key to enabling those AAA gaming experiences when you're on the go.
So, at the end of the day, all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question. As we look forward, what's going to define the next generation of performance? Is it just about who can pump out the most frames with AI? Or is it a more nuanced balance? A race to create the smartest, most responsive, and maybe, most importantly, the most trusted technology. Right now, AMD is betting on the latter, and whichever path ends up winning out, well, that's going to shape how all of us play for years to come.